Good afternoon, good day, whatever time it is that you've come across my video. Today's video is going to be about the world famous McCrary Twins, aka the McGuire Twins. Benny and Billy McGuire, or McCrary, were identical twins from here in Hendersonville, North Carolina. If you guys haven't noticed already, I live in Western North Carolina. I live in a town called Hendersonville. It's right outside of Asheville. It's nestled in the mountains of the Blue Ridge Mountains in Western North Carolina. Truly beautiful places. If you've seen my videos of the Blue Ridge Parkway and DuPont, you've seen the beauty. So, anyway, today's video is going to be about Billy and Benny McCrary. They were identical twins who gained international fame as pro wrestlers, mini bike stunt riders, and world record holders. At their peak, the McCrary twins weighed combined total of 1,598 pounds and held the world record as the heaviest twins. They got famous by riding their little Honda mini bikes around Hendersonville during a festival we do every year called the Apple Festival. A Life magazine photographer saw them riding around and shot a picture of them. They were also sponsored by Honda, and they did a 3,000-mile drive on their Honda bikes from New York City to Los Angeles. And they also appeared on the Tonight Show a few times. And when they were going through Texas, they ran into a guy named Gory Guerrero and trained them as pro wrestlers. Of course, Benny is quoted as saying, "Of course, we didn't take the bumps like the average wrestler." Benny and McCrary remembered in a 1998 interview. So we worked the routine around us. The guys would run against us and fall down. They came in and tried to body slam us. So we would turn around and gave them a body slam. And as pro wrestlers, they were known as the McGuire Twins and traveled the world 7 times, and they were undefeated as tag team champions for 14 years. Sadly, Billy died in 1979 at 32 doing a mini bike stunt in Niagara Falls, Ontario, and Benny died at the age of 54 as heart failure at our hospital here in Hendersonville. Their monument or their gravestone is 13 feet wide and is a 3-ton granite monument, which is inscribed with 2 Honda mini bikes, and it has world holders on it. They've been featured in a few magazines over the past few years. Maximum put their gravestone as a roadside attraction in one of their articles in 2005, and a couple other YouTube videos I noticed had shown their gravestone. So I was trying to figure out what to do for a new video and try to fill some time between shows and everything. And I was like, let me show something cool about Hendersonville that I found out. And this is something that I found out. As you can see around here, it's a beautiful resting area. It's in off of Mount Julian Road or whatever. It's not so far from DuPont State Forest, so you could go hiking and everything. Billy died in 79, as I said. Benny was a owner of a pawn shop with his wife for a little while before he passed away. Died in 2001. Let's see. As they were kids, the reason why they got so big is they had German measles, and something with the German measles made them so big. Their father tried to make them lose weight when they were younger by putting them to work on the fields around here of all our farms, and they just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. At the age of 10, they both weighed 200 pounds, So they were also born 2 minutes apart on December 7th, 1946. So yeah, it's a cool little tidbit of history here in Western North Carolina. Hendersonville is rich with tons of history, from making movies here to old Charleston slave owners moving up here to leave the heat. We have Carl Sandburg's home. We have what's his name? Thomas Wolfe's angel from one of his books is in one of our graveyards here. So yeah, we also have the Flat Rock Playhouse and everything. But if you want to listen to Jim Cornette talk about these guys, I have a clip at the end from his podcast talking about these guys. They were known around town to be on their little motorcycles, and they were known to be very friendly and welcoming and very nice people. They both had wives that were twins. So, I'm going to show you guys some clips of their two wrestling matches that I did find. I apologize, there's no sound to them. The video footage is like 40 years old, and I'm surprised it was even on YouTube. So, really, there's not really much more information out there besides saying that they have the world record holder of being the heaviest twins. They grew up here in Hendersonville, North Carolina, toured around the country. At the age of 16, they were both 600 pounds. They dropped out of East Hendersonville High School at that time. At 22, Benny weighed 814 and Billy weighed 784. And that's when they got the title in 1968 as World Heaviest Twins. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get you guys onto the wrestling footage and some pictures of them and Jim Cornette's little statement about them where he gives a little bit more information about their days in wrestling and everything like that. Thank you once again for coming along and checking out my video. We remember we are not each other's enemies, and give this a like and subscribe. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
And then the McGuires came along and did the twin thing. And I actually met Billy and Benny and talked to them a couple different times and saw them live several times. And they were just the nicest country boys from, I think, Hendersonville, North Carolina. And just had voices and just talked like that. And they were nice, and they were made wrestlers because of their size, and it was an attraction. And they never worked a territory. It was even more like Andre's schedule that you didn't get a good match out of them. You booked them to come in against a heel team that had a lot of heat, because that way but were bumping heels, so the heels could bump off of them, and you never, it was just to embarrass the heels and or to see these guys in a match on the card against some underneath heels, just to see them and pay to see them, maybe once every couple of years. They didn't, because there wasn't anything else they could do. And that's not a knock on them either. It's just there wasn't anything else they could do. They'd waddle down the aisle in those jumpsuits that they had made, the matching jumpsuits. And especially where the ropes were cables instead of real ropes, they would actually have to take the bottom rope, one of the turnbuckles, they'd unscrew it and take the bottom rope down so that they could roll into the ring under the second rope, because they couldn't get under the bottom rope. Did you ever see that? You never saw them. Definitely in person. You weren't fucking born. What am I saying?
I've only seen a few clips of them actually wrestling, but never saw them live, obviously.
Well, yeah, and what the deal was, they worked Louisville probably in the 70s, probably 4 times. I saw them, I think, 2 of those times. A couple of them were even before I started going. But they'd take the bottom rope off, they'd roll in, and they'd bring out, if they didn't have ring stairs, they'd bring out a box, a big wooden thing, so that, because they couldn't get on the apron, right? Because the apron wasn't wide enough. So the partner that was on the apron would have to stand. As a matter of fact, they stood on a box one time, and one time he stood inside the ring, because that was when they had the smaller ring ropes. He couldn't step through the fucking ring, or couldn't step through the ropes. Anyway, the point is the heels would just bump off of him, and they couldn't do anything for a couple minutes, and then they'd gouge one of the brothers' eyes, and he'd be blind, and they'd choke him over the rope, and it'd get a little steam, and then he'd finally waddle over and make the tag to the other brother, who would either get in or already was in and would just have to, leave the corner, and they'd belly bump the fucking heels, and they'd take more bumps, and then, I think they actually, the last couple of years of their career, they even quit doing the splash, because they got to where they couldn't really control it, and they just kind of rolled forward on a guy. Because if they rolled forward, they were only 6 feet tall, but they were 700 pounds apiece. So they had to flap their arms so you could tell whether they were rolling or walking. And they would just kind of fall forward, and it was a roll from the belly to the chest. But one night, oh, God, what was her name? This old lady that was there at ringside for years at the Gardens and had the big beehive hairdo, she got a picture. They put the McGuire twins against all 4 of the managers. Sam Bass, Sir Clements, I think J.C. Dykes, and, oh, God, maybe Jimmy Kent. 4-on-2 handicap. And they did the deal where they shot all the managers in the corner and then did the belly bumps to them. And Sam Bass was in the back. He was in front of the turnbuckle with all the other managers in front. And when they came in, boom, he had white trunks on and black leggings. He shit his fucking trunks. And a big fucking brown stain came up on these white trunks.